Hello, I'm Mike Coop with Action Coach, and if you are looking for a super simple summary of the recent legislation that's been passed by Congress last week, you've come to the right place. And if you stick around till the end, I'll also have a couple of helpful links that'll enable you to go and get some of these resource documents that I'm going to cite absolutely free, easy to get to. So let's get started. First of all, last week Congress passed the CARES Act. Most people are probably aware of that. There's two major provisions of it, and there's tons and tons of data, 30-page reports, 40-page reports, 50-page reports, 5-page reports on what is in this legislation. And it's a lot to read through, so I'm just going to summarize it real quick. There's two pieces to it that are of interest primarily to the business owners. One is the PPP, which is the Payroll Protection Program. The Payroll Protection Program is one, and then the EIDL, the Economic Injury Disaster Loan Program. I'll move this up in just a minute so that you can see all the details on it. But let's start with this one. And the reason I'm starting here is because for most businesses, this is going to be the best bet. This essentially, although we are all paying for it as taxpayers, this is free money. All you got to do is follow the process, and assuming that you have a number of people on payroll, you're going to get money. So let's roll through this. When the Payroll Protection Act will come into fruition or start dispersing. It's going to be sometime in April. No one knows when yet. Even the big shots at Bank of America and the big banks are saying they don't know exactly when. There's an estimate of sometime in mid-April that this information on how to apply for these will be available. How? You're going to apply through your local bank. Now, the SBA already does loans through approximately 800 approved lenders. I'm told that the government is trying to expand that number of banks so that each business owner can go to their individual business bank, fill out the application, and receive the money, I'm told, pretty much instantly. So that's the how of the program. Now, what is it? Put very simply, you're going to look at your 2019 payroll for the year, divide it by 12, and then 2.5 months of whatever a normal payroll period, or 2.5 months of whatever normal payroll was for you in 2019, that's what your loan eligibility is going to be. Now, I'm using the word loan carefully because if you do this right, it becomes a grant, which means you don't have to pay it back. And that's really good news. So who does this apply to? Any company with less than 500 employees, solopreneurs, 1099s, gig economy workers, everyone's included here. Now, realistically, if you're a 1099 or a gig economy worker, you're probably not going to have a huge payroll. It would just be your payroll. So you're going to have to make the decision whether 2.5 times the average monthly payroll that you paid yourself, which is basically your profit, is a better deal for you than the EIDL, which I'll talk about in just a minute. The requirements, it's going to be 75% of your payroll, which I mentioned. You're going to have two choices on how it's determined whether you meet the criteria or not. And that all those details are going to be handled on the back end. We know that you'll first get the money, and then you'll have to go through a documentation and approval process. It's going to be really important that you only use the money that you get through the PPP for payroll, business mortgage insurance, business mortgage interest, rent, utilities. I'm recommending that people set up a second bank account. Talk to your CPA about that. But the reason I like doing that, set up a separate bank account that the money can go into, and then within your organization, make sure that your chart of accounts only allows you to pay for these items out of that. If you do that, based on everything I've read and multiple other people, you're going to be square. You're going to be in good shape. So the criteria that I mentioned before, though, is in order to remain eligible, you have to bring back your payroll during the judgment, quote, judgment period, which I think will be 8 weeks or 12 weeks. Your payroll has to be 75% of what it was in 2019. Now, there's going to be an early period that'll be January through mid-February. There's going to be another period that'll be a little bit later in the year. And that's where you're going to be able to choose your baseline period. So this is a great program. It's obviously going to kick us in the butt when it comes to the national debt, but it's going to put money in a lot of people's pockets who are business owners And as most of you know, small business owners are often left out of these types of things. Okay, let's go real quickly to the EIDL. I'm going to go through this a little quicker because it doesn't apply to most people. It is available now via established SBA lenders. You can call yours and find out if your bank is an SBA lender, yes or no. They'll be able to tell you. What? You're going to get loans at 3.75% interest. Might be a little higher depending on what your credit rating is. And these are going to be up to 30-year loans to pay them back. So this could be a good deal for a lot of businesses who may not have a big payroll. Same criteria, people 500 employees or less, solopreneurs, 1099s, gig employees. You must qualify for this. Now, I've read that the qualifications are going to be reduced, and you're going to be assumed qualified, and then you're going to have to prove that you did, in fact, experience economic injury after the fact. So if your business is doing 3 times the business that it was doing before the coronavirus, this is probably not a good program for you because you're probably going to be ruled ineligible. Overall, this is only a great deal, in my opinion, if you don't qualify for the PPP or if you have low payroll. And I've also read that you cannot do both. You're going to have to make a decision. If you apply for the NIDL, you may have to revoke your application. There's also the potential, I haven't heard this, but there's always the potential then that it could disqualify you from the PPP. That would be harsh, but buyer beware, right? The one really cool thing about the EIDL is that you may be eligible to receive $10,000 of whatever your application amount is immediately. So that would be, and then that would be a $10,000 grant that you would not have to pay back. So to be clear, the EIDL you would have to pay back except for the $10,000 grant that you might be eligible for. So one other important key here, this information came out yesterday. If you already applied for EIDL and you believe that it is the best path, but you applied before the 30th, yesterday, in this video of March, you're going to have to reapply because they've changed and simplified the paperwork. That's a good thing, I think, in most cases. You're going to want to go to www.sba.gov/disaster, and then there's a button there to apply, and you'll just follow the different menu items and it'll take you right through it. Now, if you don't know what to do, you don't know which of these are the best options, I really want you to encourage doing one of a few things. One, reach out to me at mikecooper@actioncoach.com. I'll do a free brainstorming session with you, help you talk through these options a little bit. Another great option is to talk to your CPA or talk to your banker. They can help you. It might not be a bad idea to get multiple opinions because this legislation, we have to get this right, folks. It's a good deal for most of us. We just have to get it right. Couple other resources. The best summary document that I have seen, bar none, on the Paycheck Protection Program is this document right here. And you can find it at US Chamber /SB Loans. Okay? So this is a 4-page document. It's phenomenal. It's simple. I think just about anybody can understand it. And you would find that at this location. A couple other resources. I am doing a free phone call every week at 10:30 a.m. Go to my Eventbrite, coachmikecooper.eventbrite.com, and you'll find out how to get to be a part of this phone call. And the basic topic is, it's a mastermind group where we'll talk very briefly about updates regarding to this on a weekly basis. And then we'll have business owners share best practices, successes, challenges. It'll be a real brainstorming and pooling resource. I'm sure the call will start off with a few people. It's already growing. So that's one resource. Another resource, I'm doing a webinar series, typically on Wednesdays and Thursdays. One is Wednesdays at noontime. The other is Thursday evenings at 5:30 p.m. I'm probably going to add another one Thursday noontime. Again, You can find out more information about that at coachmikecooper.eventbrite.com. That's where I'm keeping everything. And then I'm doing posts on Facebook, on my Facebook business page. You can also subscribe to my YouTube channel where I upload all these videos for posterity's sake. You can like my Eventbrite page, and again, there's good old-fashioned email. So, hopefully, you found that information valuable. If any part of this didn't make sense to you, look, I'm here to help. I got into coaching small businesses because I have a passion for it and because I've been a business owner for a number of years. So I understand the challenges that business owners run into. And I'd just like to encourage you to reach out. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to talk to you. I won't charge you for it. And I will help you any way that I can. Signing off for now, Mike Cooper with Action Coach. Go make it a great day, because in every challenge there is opportunity. Bye now.